Dayton, Hayes, 24. Well, I work for a major retail company. I'm the assistant manager of one of the stores within the metro area. So most of the time I open our store. So I'll wake up at like 8 o'clock, shower, the normal morning stuff, and then off to work and open the store by 10 o'clock.
And you a student?
Yes, part-time student at MCTC. I'm in the film program there, specializing in screenwriting. I've kind of bounced back and forth between the idea of writing and directing, but with my job I'm directing people with tasks to do throughout the day, so I kind of thought it was unnecessary to, try to direct when I know that I was going to be in a directing role with my job, so I decided to go focus on the writing portion aspect a little bit better. This seems like a lot of students who go through the MCTC program always go back for another portion of the degree too. So, I mean, it's done before. It's been done before, and I don't know if I want to do that yet, but it's definitely an option that is on the table still. Because I don't really know what my next plan is after I graduate next year. So, I'm trying to figure that out now. I think with recent events, the Parkland shooting, I think those kids, being in high school, that's 14 to 18 years old, and they're standing up to the government to change its gun laws, and they've gotten a lot further than anyone else has in recent years. So I think change is coming, and with the regime that's in office now, we knew that change was coming, and I think we knew that it wasn't going to be for the best. Apparently half the country decides otherwise and thinks it would be for the best, but we knew that change was coming when Trump and his people stepped into office. And now with these shootings, I think these kids want to see a better progressive change instead of one that's destroying the country, one that's going to help the country. I think it's the baby boomers that are having the issues now. They're going to be less empowered, and it's going to be people more of the 34, 40, 50-year-old range that would be assuming power here in this country. And I think that they're more willing to listen to the 14-year-olds now. And they'll be more open to ideas than what the people are currently. So I think we're going to progress, and like I said, hopefully it's in a more positive way than it is a negative way. And I think that's because we would have listened to these kids already, and we know what they want and how to progress with them while still looking out for the betterment of the country. Kids want their results now. I think that's every kid, though. I remember being like 6 and 7 years old and being like, I want ice cream, and you throw that tantrum, it's like, I want it now. I think the kids are expecting results, and they don't understand that it takes time to achieve those results. So it's impatience on them, and like I said, I think that's just more of a maturity thing. I think the negative aspect of someone who's a little bit older, maybe they want those same results, but they don't know how to achieve them, or they don't know how to go about them, or they don't want to put in the effort to do anything like that. I think it's easy for people to hide behind keyboards and phone screens. I think that's the huge issue, and social media is the biggest reason because of that, because now there's so many outlets. I only use Facebook and Twitter for the most part. I mean, at one point I did have a Snapchat, but now I don't even use that anymore. I don't even have an Instagram. Like, I try to keep myself as off limits on social media as much as possible. I try to keep the bare bones so that I know what's going on in the world, because, or at least in my friend's life anyway. So I personally try to stay bare bones on that. But when people are, running 6, 7, 8 different accounts, your life just kind of becomes, that almost seems like a part-time job in and of itself, to kind of manage all those accounts and stay on top of everything. I think it's a little toxic, and I think it's very easy for people to have a second persona where, like, this is my internet persona and this is who I am in that life, in that realm. I don't want to say there's an exact disconnect, but it seems like there's a disconnect between people who are, behind a keyboard compared to who they are in person. Because it's easier to share your opinions online because, no one can actually, do you physical harm, I guess. It's more of a psychological harm at that point. Live life naturally. I go to concerts now, and I keep my phone in my pocket, and everyone else has their phones out and they're recording it, and, that's fine if that's how you want to remember it, but at the same time, we know where that footage is going. We know where those pictures are going. They're going up on the social media accounts. And if you want to share that, that's fine, that's great. I don't have any strong disconnect with anyone who does that. But at the same time, I think there's a beauty in just living life in the moment. Be patient. maybe. Kind of going back to the topic that I brought up earlier about, young people being too impatient. It's just like, I'm going to school to be a filmmaker, and at the same time, it's like I want that gratification now, and I know that that's a long process, and that's not even a guaranteed. When you want to go into a career where very few people make it, it kind of weighs on you. You always kind of hope and dream that you're one of that, I guess, that 1% that actually makes it to the point where like you can live comfortably, and I guess that's all I really want. But at the same time, it's just like, when's it going to happen, if it's ever going to happen, and that really bothers me mentally. So being patient, I think, is just the biggest piece of advice I can give myself. At 24, I have an understanding of what I like to do in life, and now I don't know what I like to do. But at the same time, I need to be a little bit more adventurous, so get out there, go do a little bit more, but continue doing the things you love to do.
My name is Joel Thingvall, and I'm 64 years old. When I wake up, I try to do 15 to 30 minutes of exercise. I like to go through the mail. I go on the internet and sometimes get caught up in the social media. Then I sit down and actually go through one of the many boxes of things that I have accumulated over my lifetime that I try to turn into some sort of revenue. I enjoy still watching old movies. I need to get out a little bit more. I wish I biked or skied or snowshoed or whatever, but I pretty much am an enjoyable homebody. I enjoy the computer, I enjoy the TV, I enjoy working with my fingers and typing stuff and sending notes and commentary and messages to different people. And I do have 2 grandkids who take a certain amount of time, and a working wife. Well, I want to say, because of the educational processes that we had, again, I'm still from a generation in which I could say that from the people that I graduated with in high school, 50% probably went on to higher education, and 50% probably still just went into the technical fields. But when I was in high school, the biggest thing that I was starting to learn was how to find things out. And as I went into college and then got out of college, it wasn't so much knowing everything, it was knowing how to find things. Again, part of that was because of, I was also a journalism minor and striving to working in that area. But I took pride in being able to do research, to check facts, to stay detailed oriented. We did a lot more things by hand. You actually wrote things longhand, or you actually typed things out. You actually double checked, facts. You learned how to use the library, how to use microfiche files, where you had to stick this spool of a negative or whatever and go through and find different articles to, back up information. And I think that took a bit more time to actually listen. Listening was very important. As now that I've approached retirement, I consider myself knowledgeable, and I can reflect on the past, and I have a better idea of how things did work or how we got to where we are. That doesn't mean I know how to improve things, or that my generation should know how to improve things. And I'm also sitting here going that, well, my parents' generation, let's say 20 years older than me, who feel like they're being left behind or no one is listening to them. And it's like, yes, I think the younger generation needs to listen a bit more, but my generation also has to realize that we've had our chance. fix things or to make things better, and hopefully we have made some things better, but it is the next generation, you know, that's going to keep things, that make things even stronger. You want to pass the baton because you do have great stories, or you do have great insight. When I talk with actors, I like to use this. I like to say that I know a lot less now about acting than I did when I was in my 20s. You know, I thought that I was God's gift to the art, or I, you know, knew everything because it was happening around me. The biggest thing that I would tell myself as a 25-year-old is that I would work a little harder and take things a little bit more serious. I would also think harder about taking what might be considered good risks, you know, rather than playing it safe all the time. If I have any regrets, it was that I overcalculated some things rather than just saying that if, you know, I physically, monetarily was able to hop on a plane and, let's say, go to California, but I didn't because I was comfortable in Minnesota. You know, I could have gone and failed and still come back. But I was worried about failing, about not making it, about going to New York and not making it and having to come back. Part of that was I figured out a key to living. It's lifestyle. You have to be comfortable with the lifestyle that you want and what you have to do to obtain or maintain that lifestyle. I have not found the need that I need to be an executive vice president or make $100,000 a year or all of that. I managed to find a comfortable amount of money that I have to make, and I've been able to do it either selling comic books, either acting, or in writing.
My name is Zach Roberts. I am 25, and I spent a year with MTN through a partnership of my high school, and spent the better part of a whole year there and doing a PSA, and still fondly remember my times with MTN. I've been working with the state of Minnesota for almost 3 years now, and I usually just start most days the same and shower, get ready, and jump on the bus and take the Metro Transit to downtown St. Paul, where I currently have been doing a mix of data entry and video production, which is awesomely putting all the skills I learned with between video editing, video searching, search methodologies for just search bars like with the quotations, the plus, the minuses, whatever. It started as an internship when I was finishing my bachelor's at Metropolitan State University, and my major is social sciences, and my minor is industrial and organizational psychology, and so it kind of, I'm not going to say it has nothing to do with video production, which is what my job kind of turned into, but when the internship was data entry, having the social science, having that bit of interest mixed with the production knowledge and just knowing how to make a video, it made it much easier to then go do my job, which is making occupational videos. And then after a nice day at work, depending on the 7 to 8 hours, bus back and just enjoy Minneapolis's fruits that they offer. I feel like there is a different vibe from the 15 to 35 age group that we've seen. I think we can kind of tell that this digital age is for good. Being able to reach out to my buddies who are on deployment in Djibouti or in Africa or just in other random places across the world that I definitely would not have been able to talk to them even a decade ago. I think that that is an amazing thing that will keep people forever rolling in, I think, a relatively right direction. Commitment is, we see that in numbers of not just marriages, but just about everything when it comes to digital technologies and jumping from cable providers, like commitment is just a very fleeting thing in this day and age. I feel like just being a bit more, we want to be inclusive for our age group and we demand it of others, but then we see some of that, the same age group not quite offer that same benefit of the doubt for their parents' generation or their uncles and aunts who maybe live in a different part of the, definitely the United States, but the world. And I think that if we try to come to the table a little bit better about that and not be so quick to throw out insults, and maybe they wouldn't be, I'm not sure if it's chicken or egg who throw out the first insult, but if that type of verbiage gets thrown out, I think that more conversations will be had in a much more productive manner, and in the long run, everybody comes out better and less stressed for that. And just coming out of school, saddled with the dead, going through the motions of trying to figure out the passion, the hobby, the career, and the making of all that work, I think that I would mainly just say to myself to hope that I made it down the road as far as keeping my passion in my life for the whole 40-year span, to try and make, if not the passion of my career, a very multivariate hobby that is still very much part of my life and keep me active at that age. But mainly, yeah, just to not be afraid to try things, to not be afraid to, certainly not afraid to say the things that need to be said, certainly not afraid to say them to the people that need to be said, but to voice opinions, to try things, to take that extra attempt at something that I may or may not have been hesitant about. And it is, without being too cliche, just one of those you miss every shot you don't take, the land among the stars, the moon shooting forward type of thoughts, where it's one thing to be complacent with a job that pays well or that is safe and whatnot, but if you're mentally eating yourself from the inside and you find yourself doing that for 15, 20 years, that's the taste of how shame and regret, or shame, but just regret in not having jumped the gun and jumped down that road towards your passion, and maybe trading in that bit of safety for what may be your dream job, and or your dream career, your dream life that you're chasing. Just not to let the opinions of others be something that muddies the water of your desires.
My name is Vicki, and I am 62 years old. Well, I usually get up at 6 in the morning and have coffee and water, watch a television show like a comedy to start thinking positive and getting the day going. And then I get ready and come to the clinic office, get my computer set up, and begin my clinic day. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I work in an outpatient mental health clinic. People come in to see me to help them adjust their doses of medication for mood symptoms like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and so on. I see clients from age 17, and the oldest I see are people in their 90s. So I'm an adult nurse practitioner, specialty in psychiatry. Yeah, it's pretty challenging, but at the end of the day, when you know that you've kept people out of the hospital, kept them from ending their lives or hurting other people, that's a pretty good feeling, because you do get thank yous and positive feedback from the clients. But on the other hand, there are some clients that the medications aren't as helpful, and it can be a challenge when it's hard for them to regulate their mood. Being in this profession, I have clients that come in all the time that say, I don't want anybody to know that I'm going through this right now. And there's just such a big stigma. Not everyone needs medication like I do, but reaching out to other people for support can keep you mentally healthy. What I would say is kind of being that sandwich generation where we help our children, because in that generation, children are relying on their parents more to help them maneuver society pressures, financial things. But then we also are caring for elderly parents who are living longer. I had a client one time, she was 106 years old, and she had a daughter who was in her 80s.
Oh my gosh.
And so, caring for your parents who are living longer can be a challenge because they're not as accepting of aging, I think, as my generation is. I think we didn't do a good job managing our money and savings, investments. I mean, gone are the days in our jobs that there are pensions, so we don't have that for when we retire.
Mhm.
And the Social Security system. So we haven't really done a good job managing our money. The other thing is, I don't know if we've done that good of a job raising our children in the fact that fostering independence in them. We had a tendency back in the day to give our children everything. And where in my generation, I was giving money from a job when I was 16 to my parents because of the poverty and all those kinds of things, but was thrust into independence and not being able to have them there for support. And that can be detrimental to self-esteem and self-confidence, but pushing through that kind of helps our generation get more self-confidence. I would really kind of work on developing self-confidence and having the confidence that the sky's the limit and not getting easily discouraged if things turn out differently, because everything in life is temporary. I'd own up to my times where maybe I suffered from depression and lean on positive people and avoid the negative people that maybe were in my circle at age 25. Staying away from alcohol, no street drugs, never smoke cigarettes, and continued to get the best education that I could. I'd say, stay current with technology, not be afraid of it. Stay up on your health, regular wellness checks. Take the least amount of medication as possible to maintain your health. Go to a dentist regularly, all that stuff to keep yourself healthy. With regards to career, stay in your career for as long as you can, especially as being in psychiatry, that it surpasses all lifespans. And I would like to be there to do this as long as possible, but if you have a career that you love, stay with it, but pace yourself as the years go on. Read a good book, keep your reading up. Things like that. Go on a vacation and take a break. Don't feel like you have to conquer the world. Because when you get to this age, you realize you can change part of the world, but just a piece of it. I had a poster up on my wall one time. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something. And, those kinds of positive affirmations to help people not feel like they have to keep up with the younger generation and that fast pace. So, things like that.